Hey everyone, it's me, Giggins, and it is an absolute honor to be here today to talk about a brand new Rolling Stones album in 2026, Foreign Tongues. The legendary rockers are back with their 25th UK album, their 27th US album if you're keeping track at home, and their second in only a few years. There was a massive amount of time between 2005's A Bigger Bang and 2023's Hackney Diamonds. And yeah, there was the Blue and Lonesome covers album thrown into the mix in those years, but like, to have two new albums from the Rolling Stones in only a handful of years, this is really cool. Hackney Diamonds was the first album to be mostly made without Charlie Watts, who sadly passed away in 2021. He does show up on that album, and he does show up on this new album as well. I personally enjoyed Hackney Diamonds. It felt like the Rolling Stones, and it had a good spirit to it. The energy was hot, like they were really feeling it. And I do have to give credit to the legendary Steve Jordan on the drums for this album and Hackney Diamonds, because he knows how to do Charlie's swing. I'm probably going to mention this several times throughout the video, but like a huge element of the sound and the feel of the Rolling Stones is Charlie Watts. The Stones know how to rock, but Charlie made them roll. There were moments on Hackney Diamonds that definitely incorporated elements of their past work, particularly for me like Sweet Sounds of Heaven sounded like something off Exile on Main Street. And then of course Paul McCartney played bass on Bite Your Head Off. And I mentioned those collaborations and I mentioned Hackney Diamonds because Andrew Watt is back in the producer's chair here, and there are a lot of guest musicians on this record, but not vocally so much. Like, you know, Robert Smith is heard in the background vocals very distantly. Chad Smith is there. Bruno Mars plays cowbell on a song because why not? Paul McCartney's back, and Steve Winwood does organ on a ton of these songs. This album is mostly Mick and Keith songs with a few collaborations and a couple of covers, including an Amy Winehouse song, because again, why not? And of course, a Chuck Berry cover. Album opener Rough and Twisted offers some really good rubbery, slinky guitar riffs, some excellent pounding drums underneath it all, and Mick Jagger singing his ass off like it's 1974. I love the jump from the verses to the chorus on this record, which happens often throughout this album, where like you'll have the verses be a bit more gritty, maybe more angular, and then the choruses come in offering some sort of resolve or glowing a little bit. But that's not to say the song loses its blues edge completely. There's some excellent harmonica, there's some wonderful slide guitar. It's a classic Stone song up and down. In the Stars follows that one up next, and in contrast to the first track, this one feels more like something they would have done in the 90s, or certainly on the Bigger Bang album. Its peppy guitars, swinging drums, and world-weary verses fall beautifully into this like glowing chorus or these airy, dreamy background vocals. Steve Jordan's fills, like I'm gonna say numerous times, doing his Charlie Watts thing, really make this song shine. The shuffle is such an important element of the Stones' sound, and the way Charlie did those fills where he would do a really quick crack from the snare to the tom, that only sounds like Charlie Watts. Nobody else plays like that. And when you have that feeling still in these modern songs, it just feels like a Rolling Stones song, even if Charlie's not there. Mick's vocals on this song are smooth and confident. You can hear the joy in his voice. It's a seriously cool song and one of the best on the album, but man, if this song came out like 40 or 50 years ago, this would be like an absolute Stones classic. Jealous Lover comes up next, and this feels like Black and Blue era Rolling Stones. I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I like when he plays around with his voice. And that chorus is such a catchy payoff. Hands off, jealous lover. I love the build-ups that get to that chorus, the big fat snare sound, the middle eight with that let it go refrain. Like, it's not exactly a calm song, but it's not exactly charged up like the other ones are. There's an excitement here, but it's like trying to keep itself back. Mr. Charm is seemingly becoming a fan favorite online. This one is just so stoked up and joyous. You know, lyrically, it seems to be about like, hey, I don't have all this crazy money. Hey, I'm not this crazy inventor. Hey, I'm not doing this or doing that, but like, I can tell you about cool stories and we can go to bed early. The way Mick builds up that never, never, never sounds like emotional rescue era Stones. The background vocals do an incredible job. The solo shreds, the cymbals are just getting beat up. This is just one of those cool songs on the album where it's like, you know, it's only rock and roll. Divine Intervention, again, is one of the more memorable choruses on this album. Lyrically, it's a song about going out in a blaze of glory, like, you know, none of us are getting out of here alive. And it's like, no matter what you do, like, try to celebrate while you're here. Because as they say in the chorus, divine intervention is out of the question. I love the horns at the end to create this euphoric, joyous, nostalgic feeling. The Stones have always worked well with a big instead of horns behind them. Ringing Hollow finds the Stones playing with country, which they've always done really, really well. And this song, I'm assuming, is written from the point of view of somebody living in America and growing up with these broken promises. In the chorus, there's that line about Lady Liberty having a frown. And there's so many instances throughout this song when this person is like either getting arrested or meeting the president or doing these great things or awful things or having bad things happen to them. And it's a confusing world to be living in. But hearing Mick and Keith sing together on the chorus is a real treat. I love that. It's a song about aspirations that you're told to yearn for, but you mostly end up living in a hazy disillusionment. Never Wanna Lose You features some really cool bouncy, almost disco bass lines, and they match that perfect punchy drum. And I'm really digging that I can't sing, but that vocal swing they do in the chorus is cool. Awesome stabby guitars, Mick's storytelling is heartfelt, the chorus is just so ready for radio and so beyond catchy. I love the middle bit where the percussive elements are allowed to shine more, the bass takes center stage, and the song builds back up again, just making everything feel like a complete thought. Hit Me in the Head features the one and only Charlie Watts. If you can't tell, I'm a Charlie stan. This one just goes hard and fast. That chorus line of like, one of these days I'm gonna fall down dead and I'll go a lot quicker if you hit me in the head. It's just got such a cool energy to it. It's classic Stones. It's like, you know, at the end of your rope tension, the ghostly harmonica, the engine revving guitar riffs, the non-stop tambourine. This one just kicks ass the whole way through. You Know I'm No Good is an Amy Winehouse cover, and it's a cover that I probably would guess you didn't know you wanted. Of course, nobody can top Amy Winehouse, but Mick does an awesome job vocally on his own here. Steve Winwood's organ on this one, fantastic. It's the perfect addition to add some texture to this one. It's glossy, it's classic, it just works. Some of Us, Keith takes a lead vocal on this one, and he sounds more like Lou Reed than ever. The chorus adds some sweetness to the song and it adds some softer moments, but the song itself kind of crawls along for me. It's not super exciting, but you know, it's decent, but yeah, Mick definitely has a Lou Reed thing going on here, which is, that's kind of cool. Covered in You features Paul McCartney on bass guitar. Lovely to hear Paul playing with the Rolling Stones. It's pretty much a dance song that features some really cool, sharp, rigid guitar stabs, and Mick is soaring over this one with some really cool confidence. The chorus again continues that feel throughout this album where the verses are more angular and biting, and then the choruses are more, you know, glowy and poppy. That release is cool and it makes for a good song, but you know, it's been happening a lot on this record. Not to say that it's bad, but like it's becoming a bit more expected by this point. Love the ripping harmonica solo though, that is really cool. That texture plays really well. Side Effects is an interesting song. Lyrically, it's taking a shot at the medicinal world and how, you know, you watch these commercials for pills and they explain more about the side effects than actually how the pill can help you. The chorus lyrics are delivered with one hook after another, the guitar solo feels great, the drums pound along. It's an overall really cool song, it's just buried so deep in the album at this point. And then we get to the last two tracks on the record, Back in Your Life, and it wouldn't be a Stones album without a grand, epic, anthemic ballad to round things out. The classic tale of a relationship ending and doing everything you can do to keep it going, and sometimes it's just not going to happen. Like, you want to make this person laugh, you want to bring happy tears to their eyes. I love that line about where they rhyme passion came with porcelain. That's a cool line. There's some clever wordplay on this one, but ultimately it just builds and builds and builds and chugs along. So classic Stones. The first part of the guitar solo is just like begging for sympathy, and then when Mick is like, "Come on, Ronnie," and Ronnie Wood comes in with this blaring, like almost Buddy Guy-esque guitar solo, it just feels like Exile on Main Street all over again, and I am all here for it. Back in Your Life is definitely one of the tracks you've got to check out from this record. If you're going to hear only a few, make sure it's this one because this will remind you of like why you fell in love with the Stones in the first place. The record ends with a Chuck Berry cover, Mick and Keith doing Beautiful Delilah, and it's nice to have that come down after the big, you know, grandiose moments that were Back in Your Life. I love hearing the two of them just jam and riff this one out. It's where it all started. They fell in love with rock and roll from the 50s. Chuck Berry is what got them going. So to hear them play these songs and be so stoked about the music they grew up with, you know, 65, 70 years deep into their lives here in their careers, it's cool to hear them do a Chuck Berry song and just enjoy the ride. Foreign Tongues happily sounds like a letter from an old friend. It's warmly familiar, it's happy to see you, and it's stoked to hang out. The Stones still have a lot to say, there's way more gas in the engines, and there's rumors about them working on another follow-up to this record. Ronnie Wood said there's already songs ready to go. I hate to bring up age, I really do, but like, you know, these guys are in their early 80s, and they're proving that rock and roll keeps you young. You know, the energy on this record is incredible. They're not going out there just playing acoustic guitars and doing the slow, I'm an old guy thing, which is fine. Of course there's a place for that. But like, they're going out there and kicking ass. Nothing about this record says we're slowing down. The tempos to some of these songs is just as fast as the stuff they were doing in the 70s. Like, they're cranking along here. They've done it all, they've seen it all, they've played it all, but they are far from done. The record does have a hefty playtime of being over an hour long, and, you know, that's fine. There's a lot to choose from. You can pick your favorites. But listening to it as a whole, it is long. And I would say if they cut like 3 songs from it and maybe got the record down to like 45, 50 minutes, it would be a much more easily digestible listening process. That's not to say that there's any bad songs on it. I think all the songs are really good. There's a few that I'm not super stoked on, but like, there's nothing bad on the record. It would just make for a tighter listening experience to take a few tracks off. The payoff, though, is like, you know, after you get through all these songs, getting to Back in Your Life and Beautiful Delilah is an incredible payoff. It's like the cherry on top, you've reached the finish line, so to say. This album has an incredible amount of energy. It's passionate, it's focused, the musicianship is top-notch. There's a drive on this record for the Stones to prove why they are one of the best rock and roll bands of all time. I've seen a lot of other reviews online saying that this is all just Hackney Diamonds leftovers, and that could not be further from the truth. There are so many great lyrical moments on this record about the world we live in, about being older, about relationships, about growing up. There's a lot to dig into here. It's not just a blues record that says the Rolling Stones on it. Like, they're really making some statements here. Foreign Tongues is 100% its own animal, and I could not be more honored to chat about a brand new Rolling Stones album in 2026. I mean, how freaking cool is that? I'm feeling a strong 8 on this one. Transition. Did you like this album? What would you rate it? All the other cool stuff Anthony says at the end of these videos. Feel free to give my channel a follow if you want. You don't have to, but you can. My name is Giggins. Thank you for watching. Rolling Stones, Foreign Tongues, forever.